So what's going on guys, Kids here, and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best and highest damage Runemaster build in last Epoch. So I will show you the best setup and the specific nodes that you should pick. Then I will explain the most overpowered gear, blessings, idols, the skill rotations and much more. So if you want to use the newest meta build, then this is the video for you. And with that said, let's get right into it. So then moving over to the build, and it's called the Plasma Orb Runemaster. This build will blitz onto the battlefield, wielding fire and lightning. And because of the runic invocation, we will create plasma orbs that will zap all of our enemies with lightning and do insane amount of damage. So then let's move over to the setup, and for the skills we will select the Flame Ward, Static Orb, Flame Rush, Runic Invocation and Rune Bolt. So first of all we have the Flame Ward. This skill will give us a burst of 400 ward, and then for the next 3 seconds, the enemy hits will deal 30% less damage. In this setup, because we will use the Astonish passive, this will make the skill automatically proc when you are stunned, so we don't have to put the Flame Ward on our actual action bar, so we will use the Lightning Blast instead, and by doing so we will get from one skill bar 2 skills to utilize. And lastly, as you can see, here are the skill points that you should select. And if you are still leveling, then here in the bottom you can see the order that they should be spent in. Then for the second skill we have the Static Orb. This will cast an orb that deals lightning damage and pulls enemies that it hits towards it. In this setup, Static Orb serves as a support ability, so we will use it to generate the cold runes for the Re-Ovin's Frost Guard. And our Static Armor passive will ensure that this lightning is always up 24/7. To make the setup work, make sure that you copy these exact allocated points. Then for the next one we have the Flame Rush. This skill will make your character turn into a ball of flame and launch yourself in the targeted direction. Flame Rush is our movement skill, and our setup will let the Flame Rush also cast a Static Orb when used. You will also gain ward on use, thanks to the Lunar Protection and a powerful damage reduction buff, which will be enhanced by the Runic Eclipse and Celestial Guidance nodes. And as you can see, here are the points that you should spend on this skill. Then for one of the last skills we have the Runic Invocation. This is our main damage ability, and we will have to combine fire, lightning and fire again, which is known as the FLF runes, before casting the Runic Invocation. So then we could cast the Plasma Orb. Plasma Orb is a secondary action of this skill that orbits around you and deals massive AoE damage to the enemies that it hits. And because we have selected the Copied Scrolls node, so once in a while we will get to invoke twice as many Plasma Orbs as normal, thus doubling our damage output. And again, to make this build work, make sure that you copy these exact nodes. And then for the final skill we have the Rune Bolt. This is an ability that will fire piercing projectiles. The first part of the skill is fire, then the second part is lightning, and then the last one is cold damage. Rune Bolt's main function in our setup is to enhance your plasma orbs and generate mana thanks to the Arcane Restoration node. We will guarantee that it only creates fire runes by grabbing the Searing Dart and Blazing Flare nodes, so make sure that you use this exact same node setup. Then next up we have the passives, and they will provide powerful effects that dictate the playstyle of a class and its masteries. Remember that you can allocate passives on the first half of all the masteries, regardless of the one you choose. And for this build we will mainly focus on intelligence, cast speed and spell critical strike chance. So with that said, this is how all the points should be allocated in the mage category, then in the Runemaster category, then in the sorcerer, and for the spell blade we don't use anything. But again, if you don't have as many points yet, then here in the bottom you can see the order that they should be spent in. And afterwards I recommend for you to fully complete the campaign, so you could collect the remaining passive points. Then let's move over to the gear, and for our endgame gear we want to get the mages Bone Clamor Barbute, Omnis, Shades Mat Alchemist Ladle, Fundamental Criterion of Fortification, Inbound Sealed Crystal Skull of Warding, Scholar Sealed Opal Ring of Deflection, Cleansing Sealed Spider Silk Clash of the Ox, Scholar Sealed Opal Ring of Life, Scholar Sealed Eternal Gauntlets of Acid, Mercurial Morning Frost of the Giant, and Dexterous Twisted Heart of the Onkea Rose. As you can see, this is a full endgame gear, so until you achieve the best of the best, upgrade your current gear and look for similar stats that I just showed for each item. Our main stat goal with this build is to cap resistance, get 100% reduced bonus damage taken from crits, get 100 plus intelligence, 500% plus ward retention, from 30 to 40% plus armor, 200% cast speed, 100% critical strike chance, 500% increased damage, 2000 plus health, and from 30 to 60% plus movement speed. But of course you will only achieve these stats by upgrading your setup to T20 with exiled items. Then as for blessings, completing a timeline in the Monolith of Fate lets you choose one of the several randomized blessings from its unique pool. Their benefits are permanent and persistent even outside of the Monolith of Fate. Empowered blessings are fundamental part of all builds in Last Epoch, so getting the correct one is a big deal. So for the Runemaster build's blessings, we want to farm the Grand Sight of the Outcasts, Grand Arrogance of Argantus, Grand Hunger of Void, Grand Cruelty of Formosus, Grand Light of the Moon, Grand Hope of Beginning, Grand Resolve of Humanity, Grand Memory of Masters, Grand Resolve of Groyel, and Grand Body of Obsidian. And then finally we have the Idols. Idols will grant your character bonuses when equipped in the dedicated idol container. I strongly recommend you to unlock all the slots of your idol container as soon as possible, and you can do that by completing the campaign and some of its side quests. Then as for our endgame setup, I recommend to find 4 large arcane idols with the increased cast speed while you have lightning eye ages, and then the elemental resistance prefix, and then get 2 more adorned arcane idols with the ward retention or health on kill prefixes. So then let's move over to the gameplay, and the Plasma Orb Runemaster attacks enemies from close to long range, ensuring that all the skills at his disposal can hit the target from any distance. So then for our rotation, first of all, before even attacking enemies, we need to combine the CFC runes by casting Static Orb, Rune Bolt, and then again the Static Orb. Then after this, cast the Revonus Frostguard with the Runic Invocation. Then we cast the Plasma Orb 2 times by repeating the process of combining FLF runes with the Rune Bolt, Lightning Blast, and Rune Bolt again, and then casting Runic Invocation. Then now with Plasma Orbs orbiting you, you can now engage the enemies. So now we only attack enemies by using the Flame Rush to move around the map and use the Static Orb, which will provide you with multiple buffs. Then we cast more Plasma Orbs between Flame Rush, and ensure that all of the things orbiting you don't go down. So keep a track of your mana and recast Rune Bolt and Revonus Frostguard, and keep using the Flame Rush with all 4 massive buffs, and that's about it. And then last but not the least, let's talk about build scaling. Overall, the Plasma Orb Runemaster combines lightning with fire and lightning again, with the Runic Invocation, and casts Plasma Orb. For this build we primarily use the Dexterity and Intelligence. The build deals a mix of fire, cold, and lightning damage, and aims to reach 100% critical strike chance with the Plasma Orb. This build also has great survivability, thanks to the defensive layers it can take advantage of, and so much more. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other good Last Epoch builds or guides that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe, and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and not miss any more amazing content. With all this said, you have an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.